PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for a sleep podcast. I could have you saying, well, and bakers too tonight. Our fans of baking everywhere. More than one kind. You know, I know some of you are listening there. Whether whether you're blazing or your oven's blazing, or you just say, what's that, 200 or 100 degrees centigrade, Scoots? I say, well, all those things are possible. Like some people keep their oven at 420 degrees to listen to the show. I don't. I keep my oven at whatever the temperature calls for. Rarely at that degree. Probably, you say, Scoots, what's the most aren't you trying to open a sleep podcast? 450, 500 maybe. Because I do a lot of I don't know, is that considered a high heat roast? Well, anyway, it's time for, you say, where am I? Well, it's a strange place you're in because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. Hey, everybody, as we change over years here, I'd love for you to consider getting some of the amazing bonus content we have on our Patreon. You know, there's ad-free episodes, no jingles, no thank yous. There's story-only episodes. Either one, you get both of those at $5 a month. $10 and $20 patrons get 5 nights of content a week. We've been voting on all this new bonus content we're putting out. There's supersized episodes. There's special episodes from Ray, Fearless Flyer episodes. Great British Bake Off facts. I'd love for you to get some of that sweet, sweet bonus content. If you listen to a lot of Sleep With Me, you get a lot out of it. But you see, well, I love all intro episodes. Oh, wow. Those come out twice a month for $10 and $20 patrons. If you love Ray, you love Fearless Flyers, sign up. You get a lot out of the show. Look at the $5, $10, or $20 levels. See what interests you. If you're in a position to do so and you want more, or you want that ad-free, smooth experience, or maybe you just want to listen to the stories, or you just want to listen to the intros, or you listen all night long, especially if you listen to a lot of episodes. Not only are you already getting a lot out of the show, this is a way to pay the podcast back for that. It's a little bit smoother with our supersized episodes or story-only episodes to make an all-night playlist. You don't have to worry about any sponsor stuff or anything like that. And that's just by giving back to the show for what it gives for you. If you're in a position to do so, sign up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Get some of that sweet, sweet bonus content. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. And here, you can listen to it in almost every podcast app. We're like right next to the free version of Sleep With Me. You could be listening to both feeds. A lot of patrons do that. And you can do it all. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. If you become an annual patron, you get a little bit of a discount. Thanks so much. And happy changing of the year, everybody. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Have you tried the Name Your Price tool yet? It works just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you coverage options that fit your budget. It's easy to start a quote, and you'll be able to find a rate that works for you. It's just one of the many ways you could save with Progressive. Get your quote today at Progressive.com and see why 4 out of 5 new auto customers recommend Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. One part of the podcast I need you here to pop my peas, if you please. I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors. That's how we're able to be here for you for free twice a week, is the listeners who let the sponsors know they heard about them on the show. They supported them because they support Sleep With Me. So if you want to be on the Sleepy Supporter Zone, support a sponsor, tag them on social media, send them an email, give them a call, let me know at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors like Jack and Zach, who separately supported Helix Sleep, got themselves some Helix mattresses. Let Helix know about it. Let me know about it. Did it on social. I really, really appreciate it. So if you're like Jack or Zach, let me know about it so I can thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need. There's links to resources in the show notes, including international resources you could connect with right now if you need it. It's also about being a part of communities and saying Black Lives Matter, saying Stop AAPI Hate with our actions, being a part of positive change. And there's links to organizations where you could get started in the show notes. And I'm also curious about what organizations have supported you or that you support. So as we go into this next year, I can put my resources and find out more about more organizations organizations that are doing good work. So let me know about it. You can send me a message through our website contact form, and that's the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Well, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Song sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget, you can get free ad-free episodes by referring people to the show. Sign up for our referral program at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, R-E-F-E-R. Thanks. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts, things on your mind from the past, the present, or future you're thinking about. Your thoughts could be feelings, physical sensations, emotions, all those things, changes in time, temperature, routine. Could be other stuff. Whatever it is that's keeping you awake, what I'd like to do is take your mind off of stuff, keep you company while you fall asleep. And it's a little bit different recipe. There's I guess you say... I guess the recipe's the wrong analogy for this podcast because recipes, maybe a recipe that I would make, but because, tonight's Great British Bake Off episode. But, so one of the things that goes into it is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. I'm going to go off topic. I'm going to get mixed up. I'm going to probably be flummoxed. You say, Scoots, are you flummoxed? I'd say, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. Not sure if I could do, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so, because I'm mixed up because my brain just, I thought I was in the middle, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. That was one that came out of nowhere. I'm not even sure. I was looking at a chord, and then some reason my brain asked me if I was flummoxed, and I was actually flummoxed by the question about me being flummoxed. I was just flummoxed. Here we go. I love discovering words that and then labeling them incorrectly. So to be flummoxed, you could be, so it is a verb to flummox. You say, that sounds great, man. My pipes have, that sounds really like it's going to clear up the water flow in the house. When can you come over and flummox things? And I'd say, well, it's not what it sounds like, because it's more like gumming up the works. And you say, really? You're going to start a business doing that? Believe it or not, I've been doing it for over 1,000 episodes. I've been flummoxing, let's see, esorum east, let's get to our Latin roots. But I've been doing, this is not to humble brag here, but and whenever I say that, I send my love to Harris, I've been doing Duolingo in Spanish for a while, but for some reason, Latin esorum isocis is still stuck in my head. Soy eris es somos son would be Spanish. Well, that's how I that's like it's not a trick, but that's how I kind of get my brain. What was I saying? Flummoxed. Flummox. Soy. Flummox. I don't know how it works in English. I'm not good. Fortunately, I don't have any mental tricks other than those two. So eris somos sonen isorum isos just flumis isorum flamorum. I had flamorum. I coughed some of that up the other day. Isorum isos. That sounds so easy. I don't know why I got 4 D's in Latin, other than everybody said don't take Latin, and I guess they were correct. It's not entirely true. I may have gotten a C or a C minus at one point. I'm way off. Like I've slowed the podcast down totally on purpose. I may have flummoxed you. So if you're new, usually I don't start flummoxing for a little while, but flex my flummox. You say, Scoots, when you brag, you totally brag. What do you say? Well, I'm flexing my flummox, man. Don't make me flex. Well, no, actually, I'd say do make me flex my flummox. Don't make me flex my vocabulary to try to figure out to flummox, to confuse or to make someone speechless. They say, what in the world? Like, I think usually I say, probably not using this word correctly. But if you're new, you may be totally flummoxed. You may be beyond that. Give me, LeVar, can I get feelings after you've been flummoxed? So you could be feeling stronger feelings. So let me give you some info if you're new. This podcast is never gets started and always is going, and that can be frustrating when you're new. It does take a couple times to get used to the show, but I'll try to get you some of the information right here. But first off is the fact I make this show for 2 reasons. 1, I've been there in the deep, dark night, tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble, all sorts of things, including sometimes confusion. That's what happened to me last night because it was my first night sleeping back at home in a long time. And I was half asleep. I woke up, and I was kind of in a somewhat dream state, didn't know where I was. And even after like 3 levels of waking and analyzing things, I didn't know where I was. Now, I know they can create more strong feelings in people. I was more like, what? Like I was just confused. So I've been there. That's why, tossing and turning, not being able to fall asleep or waking up. So I know how it feels. I know it can be frustrating. And I know it can, get in the way of living your life. And that's the second thing is you deserve a good night's sleep. Even if this show can't provide it for you, you deserve a good night's sleep. You can check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. I strongly recommend kind of developing a wind down routine, whether this podcast works for you or not. I really make strong suggestions. So yeah, wind down routine of about an hour before you want to be asleep. That's, for me, one of the cornerstones of me getting a good night's sleep is 70-80% of the time. But you deserve a good night's sleep. That's why I make the show. So I hope it can provide it. So that's why I make the show. Other things to need to know is this is a podcast you don't really listen to in an active way. You can listen along, and listeners do. And some listeners listen along for distraction. Some listeners listen along for company. Some listeners like just to take their mind off of if they can't sleep, or you got something coming up, but you want to keep you company, but different flavors of that, I guess. Some people barely listen to me. Some people listen to me and they don't even understand what I'm saying, or they have me under a pillow or low volume. So it's more of the pace and the tone of the show, like a TV 2 rooms over. So but either way, this is a podcast you just kind of listen to. It's there for you and you can listen, but that can throw new listeners off if you're trying to listen and wait for it to get started or me to get to the point, or what is he doing now? You'll be flummoxed because I'm always flumming. You know what they say about old Scoots? He's always flumming the decks. And when you say flumming, I don't think it's a flum. You don't think it's flum ox, oxorum, ox. You say, no, that's a company that sells at Bed Bath & Beyond. Flumox, Flumorum, Flumis, or Cease. We might be close. Again, how many other people out there have like a small portion of the brain, Latin root brain, and only a few people said, but the person that talked me into taking Latin, whatever, a long time ago when I was a university student, said, trust me, it'll come in handy. Turned out, this is the funny thing, I was going to throw shade on them. Turns out they were 100% right. Who would have known the loans they took out to take Latin and barely pass would actually not only be paid, but would be paid back by their that's funny. I mean, I think, anyway, that's just fun. That's, talk about irony. Holy cow. I'm flummoxed by irony. We just took a flummox and turned it around and auto flummox. Say, that sounds like you shouldn't be doing that. I say, yeah, I mean, it's a technical exercise. It happened accidentally. I auto flummoxed myself with irony. And I kind of got caught in, like, when I was going to, like, not be nice to someone, I said, no, they were right. In the most unexpected way. Delightful. Here's where we have irony. It can be delightful. Being flummoxed can be delightful. It can also be frustrating. So give the show a few tries, but don't try to pay attention or wait for it to get started if you can. That's one. Oh, this is also a podcast that doesn't put you to sleep going along with that. It's here while you fall asleep. Whether you're listening, whether you need to listen or you would just fall asleep, I'm here to keep you company all night long if you need to, or during the day. So that's the other thing. The next few things that can throw people off are the structure of the show. Show starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcome. Then there's support for listeners. Then there's support for the podcast. That meets our goals of being here for you and offering some things to support the community. And then the show coming out on a regular basis, twice a week for free. And without the patrons and sponsors, that just wouldn't make sense. So that enables us to do that. Then there's the intro, which we're kind of already like 10 minutes into or more. And that can really throw people off because some people think the intro is part of the sponsor stuff, or they say, what is this thing? But really the intro is a show within a show. And it kind of serves a few purposes, but it's mostly ideally part of your wind down to say, okay, there's my regular day. There's the stuff I do before I get ready for bed. And then the intro starts and it kind of creates like a twilight between your waking evening, nighttime day or whatever you want to call it, and then falling asleep. So while you can listen any way you want, you could skip the intro, you could listen to story-only episodes on Patreon. A lot of listeners use the intro. Some are asleep, but look at how good they look. But like most people either use it as a deliberate part of their wind down routine or it kind of substitutes in. So you're getting comfortable. And I mean, it gives me a chance. I mean, who would have thought now I have yet another apology to make for the person to convince me. I mean, I think they'll be happy to find out about that. And if I guess I probably should send a letter. Probably I may have had two Latin professors, but I know of one that I can remember because he looked a lot like a younger Garrison Keillor. And the first day of class, I said, this professor looks like a younger Garrison Keillor. And I don't know. So the intro goes on and on and on with stuff like that. You say, okay. So I could fall asleep during that? Yeah. Or you could get comfortable, or you could kind of barely listen. That's the intro. Then there's business again, because most people are winding down during the intro. Then we have more business to keep the show free versus behind a paywall. Then the bedtime story will start, and tonight will be based on the Great British Bake Off, and we'll be recapping the first episode of another series or season or collection, however you want to define it. And we'll be talking about, buttercream and I don't know, how you see, how many times will we use stodgy? Hopefully I already did the notes for it. So I don't remember doing a alliteration watch, but yeah, we'll just go on and on. So if you've never seen Great British Bake Off, or if you're a big fan, you say, especially for the first episode, you say, Scoots, that is not Sophie. That was, and I say, okay, yeah, I get those names mixed up. I'm sorry. So you could so it'll be, you might not, it won't be anything like the show. Hopefully it'll have some of the times. So I said, wow, how nice are these people, these contestants, patting each other on the back or helping each other out. So we'll talk about that. Then there's thank yous at the end. So that's the structure of the show. That's why I make the show. And that's it. Give the show a few tries. I really hope it can help you. I really appreciate you coming by and checking the podcast out, and I really hope I can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's the ways I'm able to be here for you free twice a week. Hey, everybody, before we get to the story here, you know the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me? Sleep phones. You know what I go running in? Sleep phones. You know what I sleep on planes in? Sleep phones. You know what I use in a hotel? Sleep phones. And you could get your own Sleep With Me branded sleep phones. There's more than one version. There's a sheep. There's Sleep With My Boyfriend. There's a logo. You could get them all at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones. It's sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones, and use Sleep With Me to save $5 off your order. Soft speakers inside a stretchy headband, or you could get a fleece headband. So comfortable, so enjoyable. They have 3 different models to choose from. It's sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, before we get to the story here, you know the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me? Sleep phones. You know what I go running in? Sleep phones. You know what I sleep on planes in? Sleep phones. You know what I use in a hotel? Sleep phones. And you could get your own Sleep With Me branded sleep phones. There's more than one version. There's a sheep. There's Sleep With My Boyfriend. There's a logo. You could get them all at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones. It's sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones, and use Sleep With Me to save $5 off your order. Soft speakers inside a stretchy headband, or you could get a fleece headband. So comfortable, so enjoyable. They have 3 different models to choose from. It's sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's Scoots here, and it's time for our return to the Tent Bakers. GBB Collection 5, Episode 1. Not sure what season or series it is, but this is a Channel 4 Love Productions one. And according to my notes, it opens with blue, light blue, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, and maroons. So not a Roy G. It's a tent type, or a hot air balloon. And I said it's not Roy G. Biv. It's BLBG. G's for Y's ORM. BLBG's Y's Yorms, Yorm. That's easy. Blues, light blue, big, Yorm. At least we got the Yorm down. And this is our comedy open. I think it's Noel and Sandy's first season. Not sure. The balloon rises above the tent. Then we have Noel and Sandy in the tent talking. Can you see it, Noel? Can't see it. Big white tent, 12 new bakers. They call Sue. Where are they, Prue? Don't know. They're late, she says to Paul. Oh, Prue, this is Prue's first season. Can you take a mini cab? Then we see the talking heads with Flo. Steven, let's see what my notes. So Sandy, Noel in base, her in a fighter pilot, a hat. He's in a steam kind of leather gaunt. Look, Prue Paul waiting for them with the bakers underlined. Talking heads, drone shot. Something, judges, steeple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Must have been 12, though. I missed a baker. The talking heads, maybe. 2 of 17 of 6. Don't get out here. Prue is new. They don't know what to expect. The bakers are putting their tan aprons on. And they're talking about how, talking about Prue. Prue's talking about herself a little bit. It's definitely colder in the tent right now and outside because everybody has layers on. Sky shot. Oh, then the opening comes. But right now we're still doing Unstitch Me. In 2017, who will win? with Chris in a paisley shirt. Then the opening comes. Burkford, wherever the 10 is. I'll know. Brookshire. Leaning bottom, detailed different outfits. A theme of the week, cake week, first time. 3 challenges. Hello, welcome. Signature family size fruity cake. Berkshire. Welford Park. They leave the tent. Noel and Sandy, their outfits are different. Sandy is kind of doing her first complex description, and he says, cake week, so excited. We're actually going to walk into the tent for the first time. Nervous. I don't really go camping. And then they talk about the 3 challenges, bake together. Paul's in a coat, soggy. Stephen, not easy, don't be fooled. James, rhubarb crumble. Allotment, nix it. Something with dad. 600 grams raw. 4 bakes apples. British, Buzz, Granny Smith, Stacy, Max, Zane, and Ethan. Liam, a crumb for his sister. Youngest apple loaf. I like loaves, shaves. Julius seeds his fruit. Skype, Nan, Courgette. Sophie, coconut, spawns, too much leaking. Peter, coconut cake. They're talking about the skewers on the show. Bakes for his church. Mango pineapple. I don't think it's mango pineapple, though. Chris, no butter, 2 eggs, double question mark. Tremendous amount of fruit into oven, 160 degrees, 45, calm, 1 hour left, looking in oven, 75 to an hour, complete mystery. James is talking about his allotment. He has kind of a denim-colored shirt on. Complete mystery. Welcome, bakers. Light not on. The oven's not on. Yan. Fastball. Something. Football. Oh, Yan loves football. Crumble apple backup. Flow. Ciders. Lemon curd. Curd with a K, Paul says. Madhouse. Triple layer, well done, mum. Tom, architect, gilded pear, golden pear, gilded pear. Kate, an amateur blacksmith, rose and strawberry, layer it. Stephen, mum Judy, bake it 3. Toffee apples, in love with you. Oh, someone says that 30 minutes. Open arm, total lottery, even harder for big cakes, just a sponge, cool cakes. Flo interviews Noel, his never job cute, not too shabby, waiting, stress, cakes looking good, 2 minutes, shizzle and nizzling. James, oh no, lost my bottom. 1 minute collapse, awkward hugs, cleanup, and then we have the judging coming up, but we'll do some of this, talking about the loaf. Liam's loaf. He kind of is saying, hey, Paul, relax, man. He's got like the most joy in him, I think. Well, there's other joyous bakers, so Yan, Flo. There's a lot of joy, in the show. So I didn't mean to say he's got a lot of joy. I guess this is Julia's talking. She's shredding a courgette, which could be considered a cucumber-esque, I don't know, which is a fruit if it has seeds. She's baking with her nan on Skype in Sussex. She's from Serbia. Courgette and lemon cake. Okay, let's go to the judging, though, in between this. Kate is the first one. No one. Sats, marigold. Noel eats it. It's all rose water. Like the style. Oh, Julie's talking about how normal, she forgot to squeeze out the juice. Have you squeezed the moisture out of it? Of course I have. She said it takes a lot of strength to squeeze. Sophie, they're doing her thing. She's doing squeezed pineapple and coconut sponges sandwiched. So we are getting some alliteration. Peter, burning my tongue, too much baking powder. Oh, here's Peter cracking a coconut. He's making his coconut cake. His wife and his daughter love it. But his son doesn't like anything with bits in it. I love myself a coconut cake, too. He brings a cake to someone at his church. It looks delicious. Grated coconut, coconut milk, coconut sugar. Can never have too much coconut, I agree. He's got a really nice darker pink shirt on. And then Chris is a pineapple mango sponge. Let's see. Who's this? Overbaked. There's no one named Justin on here. Julia, heavy. Flo, good sponge, nice that. Chris got flavor, but maybe it's underbaked. Liam, stodgy, boring. Yan, no huge flavor, good sponge. Draw. Steven, looks good, beautifully baked, perfect. Autumn, pool, handshake, nailed it. So he gets a handshake, a Hollywood handshake. They're showing everyone kind of moving around. Stacy, bake is okay, not convinced. James, they say it's like rustic mud. Maybe. Liam and James are talking about their cooking times now. Sophie, neat, lovely, walloping. It also gets a handshake for Paul. Silliness or Silzines, Paul, something. We get talking heads. I think Yan says this is the Peter, I made the Peter Beardsley of cakes, which I don't know what that means. This is where Stacy right now, I'm watching it. It helps Yan makes your oven's not on. Yan is a biomedical scientist. One of the people I'm rooting for early on. I don't know. It just seemed like, okay, that's someone I would feel comfortable being around, hanging out with. But it also reminds me of a coworker. That always helps. She has to restart her bake because there's a problem with sponge. But that's apple crumble contingency. Then we see Flo is working on fillings and decorations. Curd filling. Paul's giving her a hard time for the way she speaks. And Flo's grandmother Flo she helps out her son's restaurant, the Madhouse. So that's what the Madhouse was, or maybe that's her house. She's citrus layer cake with candied oranges and lemons. Her daughter put notes on there. Well done, Mom. We love you. I'm nervous. Are you? It's okay to be nervous. Nothing to worry about. So, yeah, we see the nerves. We see Yan's second sponge. Liam waiting for his loaf. He's got him and a couple other people with the bigger cakes. We see the gilded pear being made. That's Tom, architect from Edinburgh. And that's a pear and blackberry cake. Meanwhile, in the future, my notes will be a gingham-clad mystery Prue bit fiddly 12 chocolate mini rolls with peppermint buttercream. We get 2 hours to do that in the future. Right now, Kate, the amateur blacksmith, is showing, she's from Knowlesley, strawberry and rose sponge cake. And Prue is asking, how are you going to balance the flavors, which we now know from the future it didn't quite work out. Sorry. And talking about how are we going to know. Then we see Steven making his toffee sauce, crystallize the old citrus rinds, mascarpone, icing sugar. Steven's pretty charming, it seems like. Marketing executive. His mom's Judy. So for her, he's making a bonfire apple cake, one verse Swiss roll. These are my notes while we go. Familiar? No. Flavor swirl. Pastor extract, egg yolks, sugar paste. Liam big breath, 12 minutes. Steven's telling Noel, kind of like, I'm going with this bonfire. I love you, love you. 30 minutes left to make fruity cakes. Noel didn't hit the pan, but so we see Noel and Sandy's interchange. We talked to Sophie at the oven. I don't know. I'm having trouble tracking all these. We go to the buttercream, Liam jokes, Sandy, peppermint, mini marvels, starting again ×2. So 2 people have to restart. Rubbery, chocolate melts. Noel bowled over by Sandy, tight curl. Rolling is rough. So rolling the cake, I mean, and I would love a peppermint Swiss roll. I guess in the U.S., those are called ho-hos or Swiss rolls. I guess ho-ho was the hostess ones. We would usually get the Debbie's Swiss rolls. And those ones, they'd never, I don't know if I ever saw peppermint before. Still they got those popping fridges and everything beautiful, the pastelish colors. What else you got? Mini marvels, bowled over, 20 centimeters. It does not done something. Stress City, cover the rolls, bottom exposed. You can have your bottom exposed. That's a lot of good jokes. And Noel will take his trousers off. Some white chocolate drizzle. Shaking hands. Time is up. But we're still on the show. They're starting to just decorate their cakes. You got what are those things called? Piping things, fruit, but other people are waiting for their stuff to come out of the oven. And that's very Stress City, waiting by the oven, trying to get stuff on. But while depending on how you're worn, can I borrow a small sieve? Thank you very much. And I definitely would not do well in these, I can't, fingers crossed this works. So that was for so some of the decorations are coming out. Bakers, you have 2 minutes to bring this to a fruity conclusion, Sandy says. Sandy's wearing like a nice jacket, kind of like a silk material printed. And yeah, everybody's saying, I hope this is baked because I had to take it out of the oven. This is where you say, what's the editing? Schnizzle is nizzling. And this one, what's his name? He loses his bottom of his fruitcake. James, that's his name. Eventually, we'll get to know these bakers. Another one comes out smooth. Who needs icing sugar? Yan's helping Liam. Or Liam's helping Yan, I'm not sure. He's going to tuck his bottom under 1 minute. Everybody's getting ready. So Rhubarb did that guy in. And, yeah, final decorations. Everything's dripping. Time is up. Looks gorgeous. First challenge is over. Everybody claps. Everybody gives hugs. And it's like, okay, nobody thought to touch it. It made a mess. They say, oh boy, this kitchen is very messy. Everybody's laughing. A little cleanup going on, I guess, while they wait for the judging. Camera pans down and goes by all the contestants sitting there. Meanwhile, we could see the judging for some of the Swiss rolls. What do we got here? First one is messy. Second one is no peppermint. Nice swirl, good. Oh no. Flea, small, not very spongy. Nice, a good one. Art, too much mint. Quite neat, no swirl. No purdy. Side thin. Egon, little swirl, good. Too much rind. That's not right. So you had 5 teaspoons of baking powder. That's what threw the flavor off. Prue said you can get the coconut first. It's good. Whole pear on the cake. I think that's Tom. They say looks good. It could look silly, but it doesn't. But overbaked, bud. Steven, not bad. Rain cakes. So then they do the placing, which I couldn't follow. Then they go to talking heads in the night and the rain. Liam's serious. He has to give himself a stern talk the next day. Everybody comes in and they talk about the Showstopper. But yeah, we'll do that later. Flo and Paul are talking. Oh, Flo had left lemon curd in the fridge. But Bruce says probably better off without the lemon curd. It could have thrown the flavor off. So they say maybe you did yourself a flavor. It's more restrained. So she has a laugh. Chris's cake. Is this tomatillos? It's tomatillos on there, it looks like, or something with like a wrapper that a tomatillo comes in. It's got flavor, but it's squashed in the middle. He says, okay. Then Liam's apple almond crumble maple loaf, stodgy. That's what the boring, but it looks good to me. Then Yan's windfall apple crumble. Not a huge amount of flavor, and I'm getting the apple not light as air, but good sponge. That's her second one, and she says, I'll take it as a win. Maybe a draw, yeah. Steven's caramel cake. They say, oh boy, that looks good. Bonfire flames, a shine of toffee. And they take a bite. He's looking on, beautifully baked. Thank you. Apple soft, warming spices. Combination of flavors. A sip of autumn or something. Then Paul shakes his hand. He laughs. Has to walk away. And really cute at the end of the episode with him. Noel goes back for another taste. Other people are kind of looking at him a little jealous. And we get to another cake. And then we go to James's cake, orange rhubarb ginger, caved in the middle, just mud, wet in the middle, flooded with water. Bruce says maybe put some custard on it. Then Sophie, pineapple, coconut sandwich cake, nice sponge right away. Later we learn Sophie's trying to become a stunt person. I said, that's interesting career path. She's in the military and she gets a handshake. She gets a big smile and laugh. Then she was training people. Not she left the military, but was training people that are in the military. I know, like climbing or something. And I think that's it. Then we do talking heads. So, everybody's kind of either stressed or happy. Or like glad they're in the middle. And so it's like Peter Beardsley cakes. Some people are covering their heads. We see some sheep. We see some things. Then we go to this Swiss roll challenge. The next part of our gingham clad mystery, eh? And they say, Prue, any advice for the bakers? She says, yeah, don't. This one could be fiddly if you do it wrong. So, yeah, Noel almost leaves, cause they make them leave. Bruce says, no, Noel, not go. 12 chocolate mini rolls. It's 144 of these childhood favorites. Delicate chocolate fun for something. Do not worry about leaving a bare bottom cheekily. There's a nice pun. They have all the same ingredients. Prue's pared down recipe, pared down Prue. And some people have never made them, maybe not even had them before. They seem easy, but Prue says they're difficult to do because they have to be identical. You got to roll it up. There's no flour. So the egg whites are what make it rise up. So apparently it's a flourless cake. And Paul has a laugh. People are trying to get their thing mixed up, get it the right consistency, whisking the egg yolks, sugar. And some people get it fluffy, but other people it's like, oh boy, you're definitely going to be in trouble. You can see people maybe spying on other people. The eggs only raising agent. They had this one guy, the Paisley guy. Kind of see his is like he's already in trouble. Sandy's talking to Liam. She watched him even put it in the oven. That's when he takes his big breath. See you in 12. He says, man, I'm in trouble. Now time to make buttercream. Liam jokes he's never done it before with Sandy. And then they say, I don't know how much peppermint to put in. Put in too much, it'll taste like toothpaste, Bruce. It can't be overpowering. If you put in a half teaspoon, whole, quarter. Mini marvels, Prue says. Or not Prue, I'm sorry, Sandy. Anytime soon, slightly sinking, pulling it out. Chris is flat as a pancake. I got to start over. Other people are letting theirs cool. Seems a little rubbery. Trying not to lose the air. Second time. Then we get the chocolate melting. A chocolate feast. Sandy Liz says, I like chocolate. Chris gives her a taste. And everybody's trying to do their best. Half hour left. She gives a bowl to Noel. He falls over, bowled over. Buttercream spread on the cakes, and then they're ready to curl it. You're supposed to roll them like a scroll. Roll like a scroll. Make sure the roll is tight. It is fiddly and sticking for some. Some people it's not sticking, so I don't know what they did to make it not stick. Chris is in trouble, man. His edges are not neat, a centimeter off each side. Some people are measuring and make sure they have the right size. Swirl inside, cutting it even. Here we go. Cover the rolls. Pour or dip? Yen says pour because you can have an exposed bottom, so you don't need to dip. And that's when he says, my trousers are coming off. 5 minutes. Sandy says, they're stressed, so why don't you say it, Noel? Piping's going on. And different people have, a different ability to make it look fancy or not fancy. And we see there's, they'll have no idea. It's raining in nighttime. Paul and Prue return. They look at him, and they kind of go through, proper swirl, that's Yan's. Sponge is good, peppermint strong. Swirl, we kind of did this. Let's see if we see anything new. There's already people with tears in their eyes. They're just tired, really tired. Sponge is not very spongy. I think that's on flows, and she makes a noise even that gives her away. No peppermint, nice swirl. Just a hint of peppermint. Sponge is nice. Not much of a swirl. No, let's see. These ones are neat, but solid bit of cream, no swirl. That's a shame. The one guy, they say, this is not a pretty sight. Sponge is not cooked, squashed. These are neater, equal in size. A little bit of a swirl. Sponge is good. And these are neat as well. Too much swirl. Too much mint. Sort of a feathered, chunky monkey. Is that what he says? Looks denser than it is. Thunder rumbles. And let's see, 12th place is Chris. 11th, Stacy. 10th, I don't know. So they start going really fast. And third place, Julia. Second place is, I don't know, one of the, some guy. First place is Kate, who laughs. Yeah, so then we go to Talking Heads. Kate's giggling in the rain. Chris is tense. I don't want to be the first one to go home. Liam says, I'm going to talk to myself seriously, get my, then we go in for the Zoom. Showstopper, illusion cake, trick to the eye to scale, 4 hours, all edible. Now on, get ready, get set, bake. So it has to be illusion, but it has to be the size and scale. Everything must be edible, show-stopping, on your mark, get set, bake. Not just bakers, but artists. One of the judges has to say you need structural integrity. Sophie, bottle, bucket, champagne. It was so good it fooled the bouncer once for a posh night out. Stacy's making a clutch bag. Collapse, ? Moist clutch. Ton of bakes by fire, lemon poppy seed. That's Tom. Stack of books by a fire. So let's see. So Sophie's talking about how she fooled the bouncer right now. James, expression croissant, day-to-day life. So then we see Stacy's clutch bag. It's a wet mix, vinegar, red wine, buttermilk. And Paul says, be careful, it could collapse. She says, I'm hoping it won't. Good luck. And then say, Tom's looking forward to a night in, baking a stack of books, relaxing evening by the fire. Beauty and the Feast, I think was the name of the book. Could pack quite a punch. James is sponge. Oh, so he's making a cup of coffee and a croissant. That's what he has every morning on the way to work. Jim's Java, sugar, joining his day-to-day life. Banana sponge. Liam's is making these Sunday pancakes. He and his mom, they make the thick American style stack and Sunday cakes with blueberries and granola. I've never had granola on my pancakes. And he kind of sprinkles them on the top. And then they're talking about how they're going to use fondant. Paul's very questioning of Liam's ability, to pull it off, or what, his technique. And he says, don't worry about it, Paul. Paul's pork and what's that guy's name? Chris. He's trying to make a raised pork pie and egg surprise cake. And he kind of acts like he's into this precision. And he does need to move up the rankings, Sandy says. And he kind of jokes with Sandy, are you going to trick the judges for me? And we see Flo is making this watermelon cake, one in a melon. Oh, that's a cocktail she likes. She doesn't normally like it, but green chocolate chips, a green sphere. Multiple sponges to create the illusions, multiple baking times, starting at 13 to 15 minutes. Let me see where are my notes. So Liam, American style pancakes, day-to-day life. James is baking. Way mom likes it. Chris and Flo, pork and egg pie, precise, we need it. Flo, less savory, melon, watermelon cake. Multiple sponges. Yan start at 20. Iso malts, glacier mints, terrarium cake, a mini greenhouse for cake. Flo says it's terrifying. Peter's also using sugar. He's making a knife cutting through bread on a breadboard with lemon zest, marshmallow fondant. My first foray in baking was when I started baking bread. Stephen also, bread, fondant, something sandwich, a BLT, hazelnut liqueur, peanut butter cream, BLT, how are you going to do this? He says, I'm going to use a spray gun for edible color for the stuff. They love it. Fondant food, Yan, pasta machine. My mom was trying to get rid of it. Banana ramen cake with mashed bananas, marshmallow fondant, crisped rice. Banana ramen rolls off the tongue and says, time is not an illusion, Noel says. You're halfway through the Showstopper challenge. People are taking their cakes out. Bingo. What do we get else? Any time is not an illusion, halfway. Stacy stress reshoots a point of no return. She bins her cakes. And redo a sponge, not what I wanted today. Cutting cake, Julia Russian doll with 5 layers. And Liam's cutting his cake while it's warm. Precision. They're using these kind of different cutters and making towels, making their layers, covering it up. But Julia is putting the illusion inside a Russian doll. I think it's self-explanatory. Fondant and sponge doll surrounded by another doll. The outside looks Russian like me. The inside looks English, which is also me. Then we see rain on the trees. How long? An hour. Stacy's kind of happy she redid her sponge. Flo's carving it like a melon, making the doll. Sandy and Steven. Serious challenge. Icing. Clock's moving. Fondant goes on. Katsu chicken fillet. Oh, Steven and Sandy cut his piece of bread together. And yeah, they're trying to trim it back. Everything's getting covered in fondant. Liam air bubbles on pancakes, so he's even getting the details in. Everything is redeemable or something. Unfortunately, Liam's measuring his circumference or his diameter. We see people really putting it on. Rice Krispies and marshmallows for the katsu. Bubbles. There's Liam making his bubbles. Knife breaks. Breathtaking beauty. Still redeemable. Everything's redeemable. You can do it. Painting. Different things, different techniques of painting, colors, modeling, chocolates. And that's some sculpting the neck of the, champagne. Noel's got a lot of jokes about that. Yan's liquefying some agar and some mango juice to make spherical balls. She explains cooling oil and liquid. Outer walls, it's science, basically. Flo's like, does this look like a watermelon? Yeah, we see everybody really working hard. Champagne bottle top, your spherical balls. Everything getting put together. Science juice balls. How long? What cakes are made of or not? Decoration time is up. So yeah, we see all the final decorations. 10. They even do a countdown. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. Put down your illusions. There's stress. There's dismay. And people kind of throwing stuff. Ian and Steven have high fives. People sigh, frown. We get an outside shot. It's judgment time. Yan goes first. And hers looks like a banana ramen. Produce a work of art, they say. I love the way you use the Rice Krispies. Eggs look good. Salmon roe. Your brain's going to think one thing. Your mouth the other. Then the cake inside looks good. A good banana flavor. A little dry. But design's incredible. Beauty and the Feast, Tom stack of books. Could have done more with it. Not much detail. Like the flavor a little dry. Kate's terrarium did not fully come together, but it looked good. And cakes and moist, nice flavor. James Macchiato is kind of falling over. Nice flavor, though. Dry, but the chocolate coffee's delicious. Chris's thing, basic on the outside. But that looks good. I take a bite of it. Almondy flavor. It's a little too dense, so Paul says. Flo. Ursula looks like, I say green grocer. That's what Prue says. I'd buy this. So it could be a watermelon. And it looks like a watermelon on the inside. Everybody's like blown away because it's so red. Wowzers. Watermelon syrup, chocolate. Prue takes a bite. Can't get the watermelon, but I got the chocolate. Sponge is spot on. Love the color. Chocolate lifts it up. I love you, Flo. Paul says, I love you too. She laughs. They go to Julia. Paul says, it's pretty big. Proper Siberian Russian doll. They're surprised by the one on the inside, and then they cut into the 5 layers. Prue takes first bite, find the cake a bit plain and dry. Peter's bread is a little simplistic. Too bad his knife broke. They cut into a bit dry. Flavor's beautiful, but left in too long. Stacy's evening bag. Flo says, I'm not even sure, or Bruce says, I'm not even sure this is a handbag. Is it a good cake? They take it out, bite into it. Delicious. So I guess this is what saved her, because I said she was definitely in trouble. Sponge is delicious. Not overwhelmed by the design, though. She's like probably relieved. And then Sophie's champagne bottle and bucket cake. It looks amazing. It looks real. So I can see that they got to get it before it melts. They take a bite of the cake. Cut to the crowd watching, her watching. Bruce says a little dry. Ganache makes it even drier. Flavor's nice, though. Steven, bring up your illusion cake. They bring it up. His looks like a sandwich. They say, wow. He's got a hard-boiled egg, too, on the side. Stunning, Paul says. Without a shadow of a doubt, we know what it is. Absolutely astonishing. Chocolate cake, hazelnut sponge. They take a bite. They kind of pull back. A lot of reaction shots. Paul pounds the table. Perfect, he says. Hazelnut, the peanut, the frosting, layers. It's all there. Not too sweet. Lovely. Well done. And he's relieved. Liam, his looks like a stack of pancakes, like from IHOP. Like it looks like something you'd shoot for a commercial even. And blueberries, whipped cream, and granola. Just so lovely. Everybody's laughing. He's laughing. Difficult to believe it's not pancakes. So it's ingenious, but it's got to taste good. Of course, Paul's got it. A lot going on here. They scoop it. Reaction shots. I was expecting more banana. But blueberries it's delicious. Mouthful's lovely. Paul says beautiful banana cake. Well done. So Liam goes off. He laughs and sits down. He's like, oh boy. Then Noel says, now Paul and Prue have to decide. We get a shot of the cakes, table talk. Strong challenge. Flo stood out, cracking good watermelon. Sophie's been consistent. Steven didn't fail us. Who's in trouble, they say. Okay, well, Liam saved himself with his showstopper. Stacy, it didn't look like a handbag. Peter and Chris, and they say, it's not straight. We don't want it. Well, they could send Noel home. He goes, okay, I'll go. I'll take it for the team. He leaves, shakes his hands. He actually walks off set, kisses Sandy. See you later, kids. Goodbye, darling. Camera pans once, camera pans twice, everybody comes out. And Sandy says, it's been a privilege. I get to go to the Star Baker. That's a person who's been the best thing since sliced bread. So we know that's Steven. Everybody applauds. They give him hugs. They clap. And then Noel has, I have to deliver the bad news. And the person we have to say goodbye to is, and they do a long, drawn-out thing, Peter. Sorry, mate. Give us a hug. Come on. He's smiling, though. Been wonderful. Been a pleasure. We see him outside. He was up against real competition, and the standard was high, Paul says. And Chris says maybe it was my flavors that saved me. So a lot of stress, a lot of tears. Flo and Steven are talking about the victory. Flo's like, I'm ecstatic. It's me that doubts myself. My kids are going to be so proud. Steven calls his mom, and he's crying about Paul's handshake. It really is infectious. It's nighttime. It's kind of rainy. And he goes, it's awkward crying on the tube. And that's how the episode comes to a close. Let me just check my notes from Ian. Wow, we're very good. Banana dry. Tom, could have done me a little dry. nearly a workstation for Kate or something. Nearly worked. Moist and nice. James collapsed. Nice flavor, bit dry. Chris, basic on outside. Something too dense. Flo, greengrocer. Wow. Wowzers. Excellent, wonderful, spot on. I love you, Flo. Julia, proper Siberian. Cut to her, dry and plain. Peter, simplistics, dry, flavor good, too long. Stacy, looks like a cake, delicious, rich, or more than a bag. Sophie, amazing look, dry, flavor nice. Stephen, wow, stunning. Paul laughs, perfect, well done. Liam, looks delicious, lovely. Bluegrass, blueberries overpower, delicious, well done. Breeze. Table talk, Noel heads out, night on tent. They come out. Sandy, first star baker. Stephen, sliced bread. Bad news. No, Peter, double exclamation point. Give us a hug. Hugs. Ben a pleaser. A whisker above. Flo so happy. Me that doubts myself. Stevenson calls mom, cries. On the tube. Not awkward to me. So that's the end of the episode. Welcome back, bakers and snoozers. Good night. All right, I want to thank you. We became a patron recently. Patty, Rachel, and Jonathan. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And Ricky and Michelle. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Esther, Luke, and Sarah. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Ben, Jenny, and Stephanie. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Leah, Lucer, and Claire. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Kevin, Adrian, and Kay. Thanks, good night. Aaron, Jennifer, and Zach. Thanks, and good night. Ahu and V. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Heather, Ingrid, and Emily. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Charlie, Lauren, and Dorian. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Ben, Gail, and Emily. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Vicky, Mary, and Michelle. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Allison, Cody, and George. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Molly, Karen, and Robin. Thank you, thanks, good night. And Holly and Julia. Thank you, thanks, good night. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the show on Patreon. Couldn't do it without you. Really appreciate it. Shows here because of you, the listeners that support the sponsors. We grow by people spreading the word. I really, really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much. And here's a little bit more about our referral program coming up here. Thanks and good night. All right, everybody, as I tuck in here, I want you to know tonight's podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. You know, I've talked about BetterHelp a lot on the show and my experiences with therapy, and there's a lot of stigmas around mental health, so I wanted to talk about them for a second. You know, some people put off going to therapy, or they say, hey, I got to wait until things are really unbearable to try therapy, but that's just not true. Therapy is a tool you can utilize before things get worse. And it can really help you to avoid those lows. I go to therapy every single week, and it's something I've integrated into my life, into my well-being. Because, you know, over the years, a lot of people have been taught that mental health shouldn't be a part of normal life, and that's not correct. We take care of our bodies at the gym. We go to the doctor. We focus on our nutrition. And focusing on your mind and your emotional well-being is just as important as all those things. And I've recommended BetterHelp to so many people in my personal life, too, because it's so accessible. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So that way you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. So give it a try. See why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. And Sleep With Me listeners get 10% off their first month month at betterhelp.com/sleepwithme. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/sleepwithme. Good night. All right, everybody. You know by listening to the show that I've been loving my Helix mattress over the past few years, and Helix has left the bedroom. They've started making sofas. They've launched a new company called Allform, and they're already making the best sofas we've ever seen. So what makes an Allform sofa really cool? Well, for starters, it's the easiest way you can customize a sofa using premium materials at a fraction of the cost of traditional stores. You get to pick your fabric. It's spill, stain, and scratch resistant. You get to pick the sofa color, the color of the legs, the sofa size and shape to make sure it's perfect for you and your home. They've got armchairs and love seats all the way up to an 8-seat sectional, so there's always something for everyone. And the thing is, you could always start small and buy more seats later on, and that way your Allform sofa can grow and change with you when you move. Allform sofas are also delivered directly to your home with fast, free shipping. You know, in the past, if you wanted to order a sofa, it could take weeks or months to arrive, and you would need someone to come and assemble it in your home. Well, Allform takes just 3 to 7 days to arrive in the mail, and you could assemble it yourself in a few minutes, no tools needed. Now, I have this beautiful Allform. I have a chase lounge. I have it in a modular, and I have it in a nice corner L-shape layout. I even added a middle seat afterwards. But I love like being able to pick out the size and the shape and then measure and be like, okay, what's going to fit in my home? It's so easy to put together. I even put a video up on sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. It has everything. It's so comfortable. It is really the hub of our home. And if getting a sofa without trying in a store sounds a little risky, you don't got to worry. You get 100 days to just decide if you want to keep it. That's more than 3 months. And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up for free and give you a full refund. They even offer a forever warranty, literally forever. To find your perfect sofa, check out allform.com/sleep. That's allform.com/sleep. And get this, Allform is offering 20% off all orders for our listeners at allform.com/sleep. That's 20% off for all orders for our listeners at allform.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody, and good night. Hey, everybody, as I tuck in here, I just want to let you know the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me. 3 different models to choose from are sleep phones, soft speakers inside a soft, stretchy headband, nothing poking in your ear, nothing hard. You could get wireless version, Bluetooth version, and we have a bunch of different Sleep With Me branded versions at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones. And make sure to use our coupon code to save $5 at Sleep With Me. Go over to sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones and you sleep with me. Thanks.